'Tis be a time to party with the pandas. Next time in the workshop.
Hi guys, welcome back to the workshop. We are continuing to work on the Party Panda Pirates game. Well, at least the ship that comes with the game. And as you can see, we are making fantastic headway. Now, we're going to work on some of the golds and brasses, I think, today. Maybe even the sail. But these details back here, I'm kind of thinking that they're windows. You know, so that's okay. Now, here's where we get into some tricky work. We're going to start using smaller brushes again. You know, to try and stay nice and tight. Not too, you know. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to, I think that's a little too small. Let's see. Alright, now I'm using a color called Telsus Blue. And what I'm doing is I'm putting it kind of in these crosses. And I'm just kind of dropping the color in, making sure that those pie pieces are filled, because when I get to the brass, that's when I will tidy things up. And I'll put that aside for a moment, because we got more windows on the other side that need to be done. So, same thing that we did before. We're just going to drop the blue in there. Make sure that the pie piece is all nice and colored in. are. Oh, one more. Almost forgot the little one here in the bottom. And there we are. And we are pretty much done with that color, but we're going to keep it off to the side just in case we need to go back and fix things up. Now this is going above and beyond what you have to, what you might want to do for any of your game stuff. I mean, it looks cool and all that kind of stuff, but it's not a needed thing. But I tell you, it certainly looks a lot better than the lime green. Like the whole thing was lime green, and now it's not. Alright, and now I'm going to take a little bit of time and we are going to go around the frame of the windows. And you can see where we're starting to cover up the blue color. And there we are. And now we're going to bring that brass color into the cross. There we are. Of course, we have the lower window. It's just all about being careful and slow and neat. Okay. Okay. And now we're going to put this aside, go on to the other half. And we are going to repeat. You know, I could have made this a window too, but I wonder if that's what it's supposed to be. But that's not what I want to do. I want to make it where the name goes. And again, just nice and easy, nice and gentle. Trying my best to not do any, but very little overpaint if I can. And here we are, just going over the crosses in the window. Then after this, we're going to trade to a larger brush. For the next portion. There we are. As you can see, we've got all the windows finished. And now we're going to go to a larger brush because now we have a larger area to paint. We're still not going to go with that terribly large brush because I want the control, and you know, the smaller the brush, the better control that you will have. But don't be afraid to use bigger brushes. I mean, like, you're not going to paint, you're not going to paint a tank with something like this. You'll probably use something like that. But for what's going on next, this is a great size brush. Now we're going to paint the top, or the cannon here, and we're going to make it a nice brass color. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of doing my edges as best as I can. And then we can go a little bit more just, haphazard kind of thing. We can just fill it in and not worry about being quite as neat. And then whoop. It's just, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, that happens sometimes. And that's okay. Thumbprints and fingerprints happen. There we are. And now we're just going to repeat it on the other side. And again, take the time and kind of outline. Outline the pieces. And then we can just fill it in. Alright, now that we have, that done, we can take a little bit more we can be a little bit more messy. Still can't be, just slapshod kind of thing. You still have to be wary of what you've already painted and make sure that you don't try your best to not overpaint. I mean, it can and will and does happen. But if you can do just about everything that you can to prevent it, then you're in a far better place. Just gonna be nice and careful down here at the bottom. Of course, I'm trying to get a nice even coat. And that's not always the easiest thing to do, but it can be done. There we go. Nice and even. And we'll go over the other one, because now it's fully dry. Because acrylics don't take long to dry, and that's what I love about acrylic paint. Yeah, there's a few thin spots. On here. That could be touched up. There we are. Gravy. Awesome. Okay. Now, since this is a pirate ship, and even though they might be party pandas, they still look for treasures, because that's what pirates do. Or at least these pirates anyway. Like I said, I've played this game. It's a fun game. It's made up of a bunch of little mini games, and then you have a track that you move your little pirate panda meeple along, and you gather treasure chests, and those help you. The more at the end of the game, the person with the most treasure chests wins. So, because of that, I figured that will make the pirates a little fancy. Now, this is going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of precision. I'm going to use Retributor Gold. Retributor Armor, it's called. But it's a gold color. And I am going to find a decent brush to use for this. And I might have to go yeah, we use the precise detail brush. It's got a decent tip, Should give me lots of control. So, I take some of that gold. Put it on the palette. Add just a hint of water to make it flow nice. And then the rails, the uprights for the rails here, I figured I'd make those gold because it'll look cool. I think I like how that looks. I could use a slightly bigger brush. But I like the control that this one gives me. Also, we're going to go back and clean up some of the overpaint that I did with the brown. Yeah, I'm thinking this was a good idea. There's 5 on this side. I wonder if that means that there's 7 on the other side. Yep. if you catch the paint fast enough, you can actually just wipe it off. If you don't, well, then you gotta fix that little chunk that you did your overpaint on. There we are. I think yeah, I think the gold was a good choice. There we are. Now the spaces that are in between here, I'm going to go back over them with black because I have some brown overpaint and a little bit of gold overpaint. That's not, it's not a big deal. It's not a big thing. That's easy stuff to fix. The harder stuff to fix would be like if I were to gesture like like that. I'd say it's the wrong side of the brush, but if I were to go like that, and then there's a big streak of the wrong color in its place. So there we are. I like that. Alright, so while I've got this one here, and before we go on to the other side, I am going to take a wash. The usual for brasses and golds, the Bricklin Flesh Shade. And we are going to kind of give it a bit of color. To help bring out the details. And then for the windows, basically just doing the same thing. It's to help age it down a little bit and helps the details come out. There we go. And then we got the big cannon. And that we can just slather it on. Make sure it gets into all the little nooks and crannies. And there we are. So you can kind of see how the wash is, bringing it down, but it's also bringing the details out. So while we wait for that one to dry, oh, right, I forgot about that. Almost forgot about that part. There we are. Off to the side we go. Now we're not going to do the other one until we've done the gold on the crow's nest. So we're just going to hold it right there. Now, I don't need that one. That one's just a little too small, I think. Okay. So we'll go with the detail brush. Go back to the Retributor armor. the other side. And away we go. This is a much better size brush. It'll help get things done a little faster. You know, they always try and say the right tool for the right job, and I thought the last brush was the right tool, but I was so wrong. Well, I mean, it wasn't the wrong tool. I could think of tools, I could think of brushes that were way worse to choose. But it was just a little too small for what I was doing. And that's alright. I know it wasn't like it was way too small. It was just too small. And now I went to a more correct size brush. We're coming along quite fine, quite nice. Boom, boom, ba-doom, doom. Yeah, I like how that looks. What do you guys think? Hey, I think that looks pretty darn good. I got 2 left. And then this side is nice and done. Well, at least for the brasses and golds anyway. We still have some other stuff to cover. Which we are not going to get to today, but that's okay. There we are. And we're just gonna kind of catch any place that might look a little thin or has been missed completely. There we are. All right. And then we are going to do that wash again. This time we're going to start with the brass because we know that that's dry, and then we're going to do the gold last. Okay. And we're just going to kind of slather this one around. Make sure that there's lots of the wash. cover all that nice brass. And then we're going to go onto the windows. Like I said, we want to kind of age it down a little bit. There we go. Now that we've done all that, now we can go on to the spindles or whatever they're called. Oh. There we are. Now we can just let those dry. And then when we come back next time, we will start the turtle. Alright, so in the meantime, stay safe, be safe, most of all, paint safe, and we'll see you next time in the workshop.